Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am your host, Brad Hughes, and normally that's where Evan would say, hello there. I am your co-host, Evan T. Boucher. But he's not here this week. He's out doing whatever. I think he's working. So I put up the bat signal and called a friend of mine. And we have a girl on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We have a female on the show. Friend of mine, Erica Worrell. What is going on, kid?
Nothing much. I am very excited about this, and it should be an exciting time.
It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good little Star Wars discussion.
Yes.
Do me a favor. Talk a little bit in that mic. I know it's yeah, in it more, a little bit. Just bring it up close to you. Get nice and cuddly with it. Let's see.
I'm here.
Perfect. Hang on, say it again.
Can you hear me?
Tilt it up a little bit. Tilt it. Perfect. That should be perfect.
I'm here.
Perfect.
Test.
That's perfect. I'm going to turn you up a
here.
little bit because I'm louder than you because I'm just a louder person, I guess.
This is my customer service voice.
Hello, welcome. Erica is a big fan of Batuu, so we're going to talk Galaxy's Edge in a little bit, but we're also going to just kind of get to know you a little bit on the show because I know a little bit about you. We're not that good of friends, but hopefully that'll change after this podcast. But I wanted to get to know you a little bit more. I wanted to get to know like what you think, why you're a Star Wars fan, how you became a Star Wars fan. And we'll kind of go from there. So how did you get into Star Wars? Like, were you somebody who was like grew up with it, or did it come later? Like, how did that all happen? How did it go down?
Let's see. I guess I was really late to the show. I think it started when I first visited Batuu in Florida.
That was the first time you were like, oh, I like Star Wars?
Yeah. So
Whoa.
the first time I really got into the world of Star Wars, and it really allowed me to figure out there's a whole other world out there that nobody really knows about unless you actually do your research.
Yeah.
And it actually really opened up my eyes, and now I'm obsessed with it. But it's very subtle because I don't want to freak people out because I really do like it. It is very, very cool. So.
No, that's cool because I'm one of those people who have been a lifelong Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I remember I was 10 when The Phantom Menace came out. But, like, before that, I like, grew up watching the original movies. But, like, before that, I had toys that were Star Wars toys that my dad would buy me because it was Star Wars, and I had not seen the movie. So, like, I remember being like, oh, I have that action figure. Like, watching the movies. I was like, oh, that's where this is from.
I would like to mention that, okay, so I wasn't, like, completely oblivious to the Star Wars world, but, like, do you remember when Burger King used to come out with, like, those cups and the watches and stuff? So my dad used to collect those. Like, I know we have a couple of dolls, like, up in the attic somewhere. So those have, like, definitely collected dust. But I know we have those. But I guess my first awakening was when
I like what you did there.
Huh?
I like what you did there. Use awakening.
Yes.
Nice pun.
I still have the movie dub and everything like that.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was definitely a very emotional experience. Got to see the crawl in the theaters, and it definitely brings chills because, you know, that is what people in the past got to see, and I got to be a part of that piece of history of when it first was showed, you know.
That's awesome.
So.
I love that you like Star Wars so much. It's cool.
Yeah.
I remember going and seeing The Phantom Menace as a kid, and it was 99. I was born in 89, so I was 10 years old, and I went with my dad. I was for some reason, I was with my grandmother that summer. Like, we were all hanging out with my grandmother's house. My dad was still working, but he came up that weekend so we could go see The Phantom Menace together, and I hated it. And it was so sad because my grandmother that whole week leading up to it bought me, like, I had like a plastic Darth Maul lightsaber. Wow. I had pod racing toys. Mm-hmm. I had everything. I had the coolest thing ever was when those action figures came out. They had this new technology with like it came with like a little chip. I don't know if you've ever seen them. Do I have one up there? No, I don't. I was gonna get some at Celebration last year and I forgot. But anyway, they're in the same kind of packaging like this.
Okay.
Or the ones up top. The Force whatever it's called, the green one and the orange one up there.
Yes.
It's in that. My microphone cable came out. Sorry. It's in that kind of packaging, but it came with this thing called comm chips. And if you've seen The Phantom Menace, right? Mm-hmm. So you know the little like communicator device that Qui-Gon Jinn has?
Yes.
He like talks into it and it's like this big. It came with, there was like a big one like that was like this big, and you could read the chips so the action figures would talk. And I think they have like a similar thing now called like Force Link or something. It's kind of similar to that, but this was back in '99. And it was just so cool, like your action figures could talk to each other with like the little chip reader. I love that. I had that thing forever. But I think it's one thing I love about Star Wars is that like the merchandise and the action figures are like really carry the fandom on for some weird reason more than anything else.
Yes.
Do you collect Star Wars stuff?
I'm trying to think about what I have that's like hidden in my room because my family kind of laughs at me for it.
Now I want to ask you this: are you a Harry Potter fan?
Yes.
I can always tell.
Yes.
I can always tell Harry Potter fans. I found like people you typically like both. They're either a Harry Potter guy or gal or a Star Wars.
It kind of
guy or
goes
gal.
in phases, but it's mostly Star Wars.
Did you grow up reading the Harry Potter books?
Yes. I'm actually trying to convince my brother to read the Harry Potter books. And he's at the age where, like, Fortnite and whatever else they're playing is, like, at its top tier. And he's like, no, I don't want to read. I'm like, but you don't realize that in books there's, like, a whole other world that you can manifest and, like, picture inside your brain. And he won't even attempt. And it's very sad.
That is sad. Is he a Star Wars fan?
He is. He actually just got his first, legacy lightsaber.
Oh, cool. Which one?
The Luke one.
The green one?
Yes.
Nice. That's my next one.
Yeah.
I've got
I don't have any.
1, 2, 3,
but I
4,
want
5 over there. I think I got 5.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I'll have to show you Ben's. Have Ben Solos. I know. It's great.
I hate you.
I remember people were when after The Force Awakens came out, or I'm sorry, after Rise of Skywalker came out, when they released that, people were like, "It's a spoiler." I'm like, "It's not a spoiler. It's shown in the Last Jedi."
Yeah, it's literally there.
It's in the last movie, and Rey's is the Reforged one is in the trailer, the first trailer that we saw in Chicago.
It will actually never be sold in Batuu. Do you know that, right?
They sold it.
No, I don't think it's.
That's where I got
there.
it. Yeah, the Reforged one's where I got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's right over there.
Well,
It's on the bottom shelf.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I don't know if they stopped it or whatever, but I don't. The whole Doc Ondar thing is weird to me because I wish they would make them like be replicas because it doesn't make any sense why he has Kylo Ren's lightsaber. And it makes even less sense why he has Ben Solo's lightsaber because Ben Solo's lightsaber literally becomes the one that he uses as Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
And
within
it makes
the storyline.
and he's right there, and he has his lightsaber.
Yep.
So I don't quite get it. I wish if they were going to like, and there's lightsabers that they haven't done yet where I'm like, why would you not do that one? That make more sense than Rey's. Like, why have they not made Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber?
Money.
Why? Well, the people would buy a Qui-Gon lightsaber. Come on.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that one, and then Leia's new lightsaber from The Rise of Skywalker. That one I need that one.
It's beautiful.
It is. When I saw that in the movie, I started crying. I really did. Anyway, I meant to ask. A reason I asked your brother is a Star Wars fan is because the Star Wars books are where it's at. Do you read any of the Star Wars books?
The only one I've read is Black Spire.
It's a good book.
I'm reading some non-canon ones that are like way off the charts, but they're vintage pretty much.
The Legend stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't bother with Legend stuff because like it gets you really excited, and then you're like, oh, none of this matters.
Reading the one where like Luke has 2 kids. Or maybe it's Han Solo.
Talking to the mic.
Han Solo and Leia. I keep backing away from the mic.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
I forget which one that one is, but I know the story where is it Kira? No, that was the name they had initially given to Rey, I think.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah. I like some of those books were good. We actually talked about it on our last show. Some of those books are good, but like it doesn't do anything anymore because those stories don't count. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. You need to read Crash of Fate. It's a Galaxy's Edge book.
That the one with okay, no, I know which one you're talking
it's
about.
good.
Yes.
We had the author on the show, Zoraida Cordova, who wrote the book, and she's awesome, and the book's awesome. So I highly recommend that if you ever get a chance to read it. It's on Amazon now. I think it's on sale. But it's really, really good. But there's a ton of Star Wars books you should read. You're a fan of the sequels, I would imagine.
Yes. Yeah.
Sequels, so Kylo, Rey,
Yes.
7,
Yep.
8, 9. Okay. Of those 3, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? Of those 3. Give me favorite and least favorite.
I don't know. That's really hard. It is so
I know.
hard.
I ask the hard questions here.
Favorite is probably The Force Awakens. And then
Got it.
least favorite, probably Rise of Skywalker.
Really?
And I say that because it's very relatable to like the Game of Thrones finale.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
Oh my goodness.
I just can't.
I just feel like
it's
there
just
was a lot of things that
just
they could have
rape
done
and dragons.
differently.
I'm just not okay with.
But people would beg to differ, or argue.
I think it did a fine job. I don't think
it was bad, and I'm doing this very loosely because like I loved all of them.
Yeah, me too.
Really
I would say my favorite was Last Jedi, and my least favorite was Rise of Skywalker. But I like that one a lot.
I really
but
do. But
out of the three, it was the kind of one where I was like, okay, it's not my favorite of the 3.
Mm-hmm. It tied up a lot of loose ends, but it also didn't at the same time. And
Yeah.
you were like,
it left some stuff open, but I kind of like it when Star Wars does that. As someone who is a completist, where, if they make a book about whatever, I'm going to read that book, or a comic. So I'm going to get the story eventually. So I kind of like having things they don't quite pan out all the way, because I know I'm going to get it eventually. Yeah. And I get why that would be frustrating as someone who doesn't read all the stuff or care or even know that stuff exists.
Yeah.
But as someone who does, I'm like, cool. That's it. Cool. That's a story you can tell later. And so I don't. The only thing about it that was actually confusing, and to this day I still don't quite understand, was the whole why Leia died at that moment thing. She's like, I'm gonna go lay down, and then like time passes and she's just covered with a sheet.
Pretty much. And
then she dies when Kylo gives Rey life energy back. It doesn't quite make sense. I've heard it's explained in the novelization, but I'm not there yet. The novelization, I don't quite get that. That's the only thing I'm like, what? But
yes,
is that why? Is it kind of same thing? Reason why that's your least favorite?
Like I said, it's very much like the Game of Thrones ending, and if you've seen that, there's a lot of people that are frustrated about that. But mostly, I just feel like there was a lot of stuff that was left unsaid. But like you said, it can be easily interpreted whichever way you want to. But it's a very hard decision. Can I move this down if I want to take this out?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, my mic cable came out again. This is the most unprofessional sounding podcast, but it is what it is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Perfect.
Okay, I was like...
I know. It's that I think so. I used to have one like this over there,
You're
and
good.
It broke.
It's easier if I'm like this.
And it's a pain. Perfect. See, now you're comfortable. Now you can just relax.
Yes.
What were we talking about before my mic cable came out and I had to adjust the mic stand?
I love all of the sequel movies.
Yeah.
But
do you like... Okay, so out of all the entire Star Wars library, what is your favorite film and least favorite film?
Don't ask me that.
I have to. The people need to know. They're curious. They want to know what's up.
They don't even know who I am.
They know now. That's all you have to know.
Hello, guys. Probably least favorite would be... I don't even know. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, have you seen all the Star Wars movies?
Yes, of course. I'm not that.
I'm just saying.
Lost.
Some people haven't. It's okay. It's okay to skip episode 2.
Attack of the Clones, maybe?
You like Attack of the Clones?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. I was about to say...
And maybe the
over.
Phantom Menace, because it's kind of like, what is this?
Attack of the Clones is way worse. I have, as big of a Star Wars nerd as I am, I have seen Attack of the Clones twice. I hate it that much. And the last time I've tried to watch it like several times, and I get to the same spot where I'm like, I can't do this. I can't.
Okay, so when I rewatched them during quarantine, as we all did probably, I tried to watch them from like the original trilogy. Then I went to the prequels, and then I went to the sequels. And it didn't work out. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just watch them from 1 to, the end. And
have you done it in like real chronological order where you go 1, 2, 3, Solo, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
No.
That's awesome.
I need to do that.
That's fun.
Though I love Solo.
I do too. It's so good.
I love everything about Solo.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
Underrated.
I want them
movie.
to have like a Lando story too.
We talked about that. It would be a great Disney Plus show.
Yes.
Even if they just did like, this would be so random for them to do, but it would fit. Remember how he did like the Lando Chronicles or the Calrissian, whatever it's called, the Calrissian Chronicles, like the vlog essentially. Like if they made those for YouTube,
yes,
those things would be huge. I don't know why they haven't done that yet.
I don't know.
It's such a slam dunk. It makes
budget probably.
Yeah, they don't want to do it because they're lazy. It's also hard to get Donald Glover to agree to do a YouTube series.
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
I think Attack of the Clones and maybe Phantom Menace. I think maybe Phantom Menace mostly because I'm just like, what is this? Like, I understand the storyline, but I'm also like, what does this like tie in to anything? You're like,
Totally.
oh, okay, that just cuts off, and then you're like, okay, let's go.
So there's a series of books that just came out called Queen's. I forget which one's which. I think Queen's Peril.
Queen's Apparel.
Queen's Peril.
Yes.
Not apparel. Apparel's clothing.
I know. Goodness gracious.
Queen's Peril. And Queen's Shadow. And they came out, and for whatever reason, like in reverse order. So like the first one is the second book, and the newest one is the first book.
Okay.
And it doesn't make any sense why they did it. I actually want to get E.K.
Sounds
Johnson
typical
on the
of
show.
the Star Wars
Right.
realm.
But it doesn't do anything because you already know, like, the problem is like it's the prequel era, so you know how everything pans out already.
Pretty much.
So there's
yeah.
no reason to go back and do it this way. So I want to get her on the show just to ask her that question because I'm very curious. Like, I want to know, there has to be a reason for her creatively why she went that way. It could be a simple thing as, like, once she got to know the characters, she then wanted to go back and write backstories for these characters. It could be that simple. But I just want to know what her reasoning is because it makes no sense. The reason I say that is because it is, yes, it's about Padme, but it's really, especially Queen's Peril, is a companion piece to the Phantom Menace. So much so that when I was watching it, I put on the Phantom Menace and was like watching it in the background, and it just kind of made it better. That's what the great thing about the books and all the supplemental stuff, like the Rise of Kylo Ren comic that you got. It does a really good job of kind of just fleshing things out a little bit, and you can kind of look at things a different way. Like, I actually want to go watch the opening scene of Attack of the Clones because it has to do, those books have to do with her handmaidens and like how they get to know each other and how the whole process and then the reasoning why they do the whole, shifting people around and, everybody playing a role and someone's Amidala sometimes, some people's not.
Yeah.
It's that whole story. And like now when you see the explosion on the, in the beginning of the movie, you're going to have more weight because you just read 2 books with these characters and you got to know them and you go like, oh, that's that. Oh no.
Yeah.
And so that's what's cool about the books for me is that it does stuff like that. So if you don't like Phantom Menace, you might want to check those books out because I think those books do a really good job of kind of giving the landscape of the galaxy right before that happens.
Okay.
And you kind of understand it a little more because it's a plot hole. And what Star Wars books do is they fill in plot holes.
What?
What Star Wars books, they fill in plot holes. So like
Okay.
when you don't,
Yeah.
you're like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
This is why this is happening. You're like, oh, I got it. Now I can watch episode 1 and it makes sense. They did that too with Resistance Reborn, which is a great book. And it kind of
I've heard
goes in
about that
between.
one.
Oh, it's so good. It's like a movie. It's so good. It's so
Okay.
good. That's another one you should check out. I got a whole reading list. I might have to do another like revised top 10 books because I've read so many of those damn Star Wars books. But yeah, Phantom Menace I think is, for me, it's better than Attack of the Clones because you have redeeming qualities in the Phantom Menace that you don't get in Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
Like there's nothing for me in Attack of the Clones. I hate it. I hate it.
It's not that bad.
It's the worst Star Wars movie by far.
Oh my god.
Out of 11 movies, it is by far the worst.
Okay. You have your opinion?
No, yeah,
I have mine.
totally. No,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to convince you. For me, it's just it's by far the worst.
Yeah.
So would you pick Phantom Menace before Attack of the Clones as being the worst?
I don't know. It's kind of a tie for both of them.
Really? I see
Yeah.
that. Those 2 are way worse than 3. Like they should have just done like a prequel movie.
Just sum it all up.
Yeah, just in one movie. Because
Here you
like the weirdest choice for them was to make Anakin a kid and then make him
Yes.
17, 18, 19 years, 20, whatever he is. Like, where's that story? I want to know like his first week at the Jedi Temple.
My best friend, her favorite set of movies is the prequels, and I'm like, okay,
All right.
you like that? Go ahead.
The weird thing is though, that's my demographic. Like that's when I was a kid. Those movies I watched, and I hate them. I don't hate them. I just don't like them. Like if I have to rank trilogies, it's of course the original ones, then it's the sequel trilogy, and then it's the prequels. Like they're just not good movies.
They tried.
They hold up.
They tried.
The story is really good. It's just how they did the story is bad,
Yeah.
and it's just disappointing because
I can see that.
it makes me so sad. Okay, anyway, so you got to pick one. You got to give me your least favorite. You going Phantom Menace?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Phantom Menace is your least favorite. What is your absolute favorite? I think I know what it is.
I'm like trying not to take too long.
Take as long as you want.
Probably The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens is your favorite? I respect that. That's a fun movie. It's so fun.
You mentioned that you grew up with the prequels.
Yeah.
I grew up with the sequels.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah,
that
so
was the
wait,
first.
okay, so that was 5 years ago. Oh my God, you were like 16 when that came out.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Guess what, Brad? You're old.
I am. I'm really old. God, I'm so old. That's crazy.
So, yes, The Force Awakens is probably one of my favorites. It just kind of gave you a sense of hope, which is what, you know, A New Hope gave to the older generation.
Yeah.
You know.
And then Ryan Johnson was like, hold my green milk and we're going to wreck everyone's day.
Yes.
I love that movie. So this is something I never even thought about. It starts because I was just such a big Star Wars, and I've always been online and you know,
Yes.
talking Star Wars for a long time. Was Star Wars like big with teenagers when The Force Awakens was coming out? Were you guys like, dude, holy shit, The Force Awakens looks awesome? Or were you guys like a bunch of nerds going to see Star Wars?
I actually don't know because I had a different group of friends in high school when it came out, and in my small town, it was not a big deal. I think I was the only one in my whole family that was excited to go see it. Like, I went to the midnight premiere.
That's so crazy.
So it was a big deal. Like, for me, I actually didn't really pay attention to what other people thought of it. But I know that the theater was packed, so, I mean, I guess my town was excited. I really don't know. But, yes, it was a big deal, I think.
That's awesome.
But
I just because in my head
alone,
it was.
So
Did you really?
Yeah.
In my head, it was like the biggest thing ever. Like this,
Yeah.
I actually, and it came really close. But I really thought The Force Awakens was gonna beat Avatar at the box office because they hyped that movie up so hard.
Yes.
They would because people forget like the first trailer for that movie. I mean, okay. By the way, for comparison, we're a month away from The Mandalorian season 2, and we haven't seen anything. The Entertainment Weekly stuff came out today that we saw. But short of that, we'll talk about it in a minute, but short of that, like we're a month away and we haven't got a trailer for a TV show. The first Star Wars trailer came out 13 months before the movie came out.
Wow.
And they promoted it from that point
Like
on.
hardcore.
It was hard. Like everyone was like, oh my God, what is this new stuff? And plus, J.J. Abrams being attached to it was a big deal because, I mean, I don't think he's fallen out of favor. I think people kind of give him a pass. They had an impossible task, by the way. Mm-hmm. I've talked about this ad nauseum with Evan on the show before, but I think their biggest problem was not making a time, like a space of time in between episode 7 and 8, because it really tied them down to what they had to show in 8. Because if you can even almost tell the same story, but have it like Luke's been training Rey for a little bit and was reluctant to train her, and it kind of goes from there to the First Order capturing the what's left of the Resistance after. Destroying Starkiller. Like they could have done it a little differently and even told the same story and had the same exact movie, just with a few different tweaks, and I think it would have made it a little bit better. The only problem is the cliffhanger at the end of The Force Awakens is so powerful when she goes up those steps and hands Luke the lightsaber and then just cuts, and you're like,
yep. Oh. I distinctly remember the theater just erupting into like cheers.
That is one of the greatest movie moments of my life.
Yes.
It was so amazing.
Yep.
Oh God, it was.
I
so
do like
good.
The Last Jedi though.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like Last Jedi is my favorite of the sequels by far. Like it's my second favorite Star Wars movie of all time.
That's the one with where at the very, very end, the kid is like sweeping, right?
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Y'all don't know what just happened.
No one's gonna get that joke, but I promise you, if you knew, it's hilarious. That's so funny.
Yes.
And he's like, bright suns. Oh, that's so funny.
Does that room have any powers? No.
That's so funny. Never mind. I just don't know. I remember that feeling of just like they did not just do this to me. I remember seeing in the theater. I was on the edge of my seat and I was like, "Oh my God."
For Force Awakens or Last Jedi?
For Force Awakens, and just being like at the end where he's there, she's there with Luke. Spoiler alert, and you're just like, that music hits, and like right before it cuts, you know it's about to cut because you know Star Wars. You're just like, I remember I was leaning forward, and I just went like, oh come on.
Mm-hmm.
I remember looking at my wife
And
at
you
the time,
had
and
to
I was like, I
wait
gotta wait
for
2
it.
years.
Yeah.
I gotta wait 2 years now for this.
Yep.
It was so painful, but it was like it was such a great build up to The Last Jedi.
Absolutely.
That's a good favorite movie. I mean, that movie's so fun. It's like, it's the movie that gets crapped on the least, I think, by fans. But it was weird. It had this weird, I don't know if you were you like on Twitter and stuff at the time?
No, it wasn't until I moved to Orlando that I.
Where are you from?
California. Small little town in
Oh,
California.
no way.
Why?
I didn't know you're from California.
Yeah, I am.
That's cool.
Unfortunately.
Did you move out here by yourself?
I got an internship with Disney.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
then,
Nice.
here I am
You're still here.
with other people
You're
from all around the country.
You're still here. How exciting.
It's very rare to actually find like a local person from Orlando. Like,
Yeah, no
everybody's
one's-
from somewhere.
Somewhere else. Yeah, I'm from North
So-
Carolina. Yeah, no one's from here.
Yeah.
It's a transient town, man. Disney calls to certain people, and then you get annoyed with it and you leave. I'm not going anywhere. I love it too much.
California's beautiful, but it wasn't meant for me.
Were you near like Disneyland? Like where were you at?
I was Northern California. And when I say Northern California, it's not San Francisco or Sacramento. I mean like 2 hours from the Oregon border. Like
okay.
literally the middle of nowhere. Like all you could do was go to the mall that had like 3 stores and then
Hot Topic, Forever 21.
pretty much
FYE.
or like the movie theaters and that's it.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's like my hometown.
Or you could go like hunting and fishing, which wasn't really my thing, but like
Yeah, Northern California gets cold, right? Like
Yes.
it gets like it's like Oregon.
we rarely get snow, but I
Say
mean
Oregon, is that the right
we're
thing?
close to the
Yeah.
redwoods, like
Okay.
which is a beautiful place.
That's where they
too.
filmed. That's where they filmed the
Yep.
Battle of Endor. Did you ever
Absolutely.
go see it?
You ever get a chance to hike in there? Have you ever been to
No.
the redwoods?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Is it cool?
It is beautiful.
Oh,
You go in the morning, like the fog is there, and it's really beautiful.
that's awesome. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before this?
I don't even know. We went off on a tangent.
Anyway, Force Awakens is awesome. You told me last night, we were texting, and you told me you were watching the Clone Wars.
Oh my gosh.
How far are you into it? 2
Um,
questions. How far are you into it, and is this your first Star Wars animated show?
first Star Wars animated show.
Okay.
And it wasn't because I was like forced to watch it, but I was like genuinely curious. And
Oh, how quickly that curiosity faded.
it's kind of like dragging by because it's
so
like
bad.
I'm like Jesus,
Ugh.
what is the point of this?
Well,
Like,
you know the weird thing is it's not even in chronological order the way you watch it. Like,
Yes.
and they don't tell you that.
yes, I'm
like
waiting
they'll
for
bounce
like
back and forth, and like a character will have died, and you're like, wait, she's back, and you're like, oh, this is
Yes.
before. Great. Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
I get that it's a series and it goes through a storyline, but I think I'm most frustrated with is that it's just really slow. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I get that there's a whole other galaxy that has its own conflicts and stuff that's happening, but I'm just like, okay, I want to see like stuff happen. Even though there is stuff happening, I'm just like,
You don't care because
Come
it's like
on.
you're just setting up other stuff that doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
and it's all setting up for something really great. Like
No, it's
I'm
not.
starting to see like some. Shut up,
I'm not a fan of the
Brad.
Clone Wars, man. I'm sorry. I'm not.
It's okay so far.
Evan could talk to you about the Clone Wars forever and give you
Okay.
good recommendations. He's the guy to talk to. I wish he was here.
I mean,
he'd
it's,
be like,
it's
you're
definitely not my
crazy.
favorite.
Oh, it's terrible.
But it's just something to pass time.
I think Rebels is better.
That's what everybody keeps saying.
I just have a weird. The Clone Wars thing for me is just it's the same thing that is for you. It drags on and it goes nowhere for so long, and the stuff that's good is like good, but it's not good enough to watch the rest of it. And like I told you, I literally told you, I said you could just watch a YouTube like compilation video of the best moments. You could, and you'd be totally happy. Like you'd be fine because you'd get it, and you go, oh, that's really cool.
Well, I'm only
And
on.
then there's like they'll tell you like what episodes that you can go watch that are like
Okay.
that, and that is the way to do Clone Wars because there's just so much filler that doesn't matter.
There's just a lot of filler stuff that I'm just like, please. Yeah.
I hate
So
it.
I'm only on like season 4.
You've
like,
gone through 4 seasons. I couldn't make it through the first
Oh
or
my
second
goodness.
season. It
Well,
was so rough.
It's taken me about 3 months to get through 4
Ugh.
seasons because, I mean, obviously I work and stuff like that. So it's like,
It's such a rough show.
it's kind of on the back burner. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you like throw it on before you go to bed.
So
I just don't. First off, I know from my own interest that I just don't care about that era in Star Wars. I just have accepted the fact that it's not for me. That's why I was so disappointed that they announced that new Bad Batch show, because I don't know, it's a spoiler kind of, but the Bad Batch are in Clone Wars. You may have seen them already. I don't know.
I don't know what season they're in, so I probably have
They're
not seen
definitely
them.
in the last season. And
Okay,
this is not a spoiler thing, because this episode
season 7 has already been spoiled for me, so I'm like,
even the ending.
kind of.
Oh, no.
I kind of know what's gonna happen.
That ending's dope. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was scrolling through Twitter the other day and I saw it and
No,
I was like, no.
That ending's dope.
Like, we should be this far along to where I should not be seeing spoilers. Like,
Right,
guys,
yeah.
I mean, obviously I understand, like, with Endgame and stuff like that, that was a big deal. But, like, also, guys.
That's so disappointing. That ending was dope. I'll be real with you. That ending was cool. But
I've heard mixed reviews. People were like, I hated it. And then
anyone who hated that ending is an idiot. Don't listen to those people. Whoever said that, that's like a litmus test. Like, I don't like the show, and I thought that ending was amazing.
Okay.
So that's proof enough that it was a great ending.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's really cool. What were we saying about Clone Wars? What before that? Oh, the Bad Batch. So their story gets wrapped up in the last season of the show.
Okay.
And so now what they're doing is they're just Star Wars doesn't. I feel like Star Wars of late, Lucasfilm of late, doesn't like to tell new things. They just want to people like this. Let's just tell the story.
Yeah.
Even though when you go back and you watch the Bad Batch show, you know how that ends. And so it's like, why am I invested in this? And they're doing the same thing with the Cassian Andor show. Who cares? Who cares?
Yes.
Rogue One is my least favorite Star Wars movie to come out of Disney Star Wars, period.
Okay,
I
I'm
find
going to
it
be honest with you.
dull and boring.
I always fall asleep in it.
It's so boring.
Same with The Empire Strikes Back. I went to go see that in theaters because
Okay,
I was like, I'm going to go see an
angry.
original movie.
That makes me real mad.
I'm
Not
sorry. I mean, I'm young, so there's my excuse.
How
Okay.
dare you use my age against
I
me?
went to see it in the theaters because, it was really cheap, and I was like, I'm going to go see an original movie in the theaters, see The Crawl. We ended up being late to it, and then I didn't even get to see The Crawl.
Oh, so that's your own fault.
And then he's in the swamp area, and I'm like...
You got there on Dagobah? How late were you to the movie?
We got to see the whole movie, but everything except for The Crawl, which is what I wanted to see.
Oh, I watched it at a drive-in theater. You know how cool that was?
No.
Oh, have you been to a drive-in?
No.
What?
Brad, I'm 22 years old.
That doesn't mean anything. I saw drive-ins when I was a kid.
Where do you go to one?
There's 5 around here.
Okay, back home in Cali, there's...
How long have you been in Orlando?
For about 2 years.
Okay, so you've had 2 years to go see a drive-in.
You know
Come on, Silver Moon's amazing.
I'm trying.
We'll have to go. We'll
Okay.
load up the car. We'll take the kids. We'll go. We saw Zootopia with the kids, and then we saw.
I've always wanted to go to one.
Oh, they're so dope. The best one's Silver Moon Drive-In.
Okay.
Silver Moon's amazing. It's not far. It's 40 minutes from here. It's not far at all.
Okay.
Straight up I-4. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to see that. That was really cool to see the title crawl outside. And during the summer, I was like, this is dope.
Wow.
This is dope. It's pretty sweet.
Yes. I have a lot of friends that would hate you for hating Rogue One.
I know. I'm such a minority. I get hate on it all the time for it. I'm used to it. It's just boring. I think what it does do is it makes you really appreciate the opening scene of A New Hope. And it also explains why Vader's so angry in that scene.
Yes.
And I think that's awesome. But I just find the whole movie up until Scarif, it's boring, and then from Scarif on, it's really fun. But it's also predictable. I went back and I like to, before movies come out or even TV shows, we do prediction shows, and one of the predictions was every character dies. And I literally said that everyone dies. It's such a obvious prediction because those characters aren't in A New Hope.
Yeah.
So it was like a no duh thing, but it was too obvious. That annoyed me. It was like, well, of course they all die, but you could have done this in a different way, where these characters run off and they flee the resistance or something or the rebellion. I don't know. It's just boring. It's just so dull, and
I found it to be very slow.
And Jyn Erso is not a great character. She's boring. I've yet to see a little kid dressed up as Jyn Erso.
I can't really speak for it because I always fall asleep trying to watch it. So
that's a movie I've seen I've seen it 5 times, I think, and that's nothing for me.
So you can speak for it. I can't.
I can speak for it. I find it boring. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's my take on it. I mean, that's my take on it. If you like it, I'm not hating on you. Like if you came in like Rogue One's
I
absolute
don't
favorite
have
Star
an
Wars, I was like,
opinion
all right.
because I always fall asleep in it. So I
Have you
only
seen
see,
it? Have you seen it all the way through once ever?
No.
Really?
I literally fall asleep like right up when she gets.
You're
Captured.
gonna get lit up for not liking Empire Strikes Back. Just so you know.
There's a lot of things about that movie that you're just like, oh, okay.
There's a lot. Well, that's the thing about Star Wars is like people want to nitpick these sequels to death, but like if you wanted to nitpick the original trilogy, you could do that so easily, like more than any of the other trilogies. Like he kisses Leia, he kisses his
Good thing
sister.
I held my tongue when you asked me what my least favorite movie is.
Is it Empire?
No, it's up there. I hate it
That's so weird.
because I always fall asleep.
That's so
Dagobah.
interesting.
I hate it. Like
You hate
God.
Dagobah? That's when Luke becomes Luke Skywalker, bro.
I know, but also like, yikes.
But like you also think, okay,
Okay, Yoda's adorable in there.
okay,
I
think
love
about
Yoda,
that though.
but
Think
still.
about like the Yoda that you saw in the prequels and like him fleeing after fighting Sidious. He had to go to a place like that where he couldn't.
I understand the storyline, but I'm also like, okay, it is a great movie. Okay, I will say that, but it's also like one of those ones where you're,
It definitely feels older, like especially like the
it
pacing
had
and
its
stuff.
purpose.
Yeah,
Because had Luke not gone
I
there,
think it's like the third best Star Wars movie ever made. Second, okay, hang on. I take that back. It is the best Star Wars movie. It is just not my favorite Star Wars movie.
okay, that's all I'm gonna
You
say.
look so angry right now.
I'm just smiling.
I know it's fake. I can tell.
It's
I know a
Maya.
Disney smile when I see one.
This gonna be on,
Back when you worked at Disney
right?
as an intern, when you're with your professional internship.
Have a magical day.
Have a magical day. Hey, have a magical day.
Yeah.
Don't like Empire Strikes Back. That is so strange. I've
I'm
never met
sorry.
anybody that doesn't like that movie. Maybe if you watched it without falling asleep, you might like it. Maybe you just got to stop doing drugs before you watch Empire
What
Strikes
kind
Back.
of drugs am I doing?
Ambien. Okay, so we've talked about the prequels. We've talked about the sequels. We've talked about the OT. Do you like Return of the Jedi? I guess we didn't talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, of the three original films, least favorite. We know your least favorite. What's your
God.
favorite?
Probably A New Hope. Like,
See, we are the exact opposite.
oh my God.
Well, Return of the Jedi is my favorite, but I hate A New Hope. Not hate. I find it boring. Like you're
So
an hour
what-
in before anything interesting happens.
The way that I see A New Hope, I think it would have been perfect as a standalone movie. Because
I agree
They
100%.
had it set up to where, you go into that one room, everybody gets their freaking medals. Blah,
Except
blah, blah.
Chewie.
True. They did him wrong. But
Wookiee
it was
lives
very
matter.
it was set up to be like a standalone movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand why George Lucas did that. So I understand that. But then you had the extra movies after that, the other two movies, and you're like, oh, okay, well, all right. It just you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, it does. It
So by
stands alone as
itself,
it's a
it
thing.
has
It's a
everything.
self-contained movie that has everything you need. Then when you add other things to it, it kind of not takes away from the original, but like I always felt that like A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, it was just such a different tone. And I think that's why The Last Jedi works for me. It's because it mimics that. Like Force Awakens is a lighter tone. New Hope's
Yeah.
kind of a lighter movie. Empire Strikes Back is not. I mean, within the first 5 minutes, the main character is about to die. Then the rebellion loses a fight against the Empire and have to flee. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of the same story, if you really think about it. I mean,
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm
I'm like trying to remember him because it's been a while, but
I've watched Star Wars too often. I watch like a
Nerd.
I watch movie like one movie a week for real. All right, so we've talked original trilogy, we've talked sequels, prequels. Let's talk about Mandalorian. You saw the new pictures today
yes.
from the EW covers. What did you think?
I love the child, of course. Who doesn't?
I love him, but like I'm starting to get okay. I got it.
It is extreme in Disney.
It's too much. It's like they
Did
forget
you see the
that
new
any.
headbands?
Yeah, I got one, but
So
it's. It's like my only problem with the child is that they've literally forgotten that every other Star Wars character exists.
right. There's so many characters in the Mandalorian that I sigh.
I get
deeply
he's
because,
cute.
Like,
I get it, but like,
yes, it's a
I
little
mean,
bit too much.
even
But
the
he is
Mandalorian,
cute.
even Din Djarin.
That's all I have to say. Like, he is cute.
He's cute, but like, I got it. He's
Yeah.
cute, and all the merchandise doesn't look as cute as he does. That's the weird thing. Did you see the Magic Band, the new purple Magic Band that came out?
There's a purple box one.
Yeah,
Yes.
It
I got
do-
it for my brother for Christmas.
I have it
so.
too because I'm a dork and I love Magic Bands. But like all the even like the plush, other than the one at Toydarian Toy Maker. Is that the name of the
Yes.
stall? It is,
Yes.
right? Okay. Even that, like, that's the only one that's cute. But like all the other toys and representations of him, like on a
I can see
toy,
that.
aren't as cute as what he actually looks like. Even like the plastic toys, like they don't look quite as cute, and I don't know why that is.
I think it's just the plastic.
It's weird because like he never looks as cute as he does.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just wish that they would tone it back a little bit with the child stuff. It's like we got it,
Yes.
and it's just gonna get worse because the stuff they showed on the EW.
Well, technically, the
Oh,
child
well.
is not within the storyline for, Batuu and all that. So the fact that they're selling merch.
Well, he is, but we don't know where he is at that point.
Yeah, so he's kind of just like he's out there in the galaxy somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
But he's
We
just
don't
like,
we don't know what he
if
is.
you know the storyline for Black Spire Outpost and
For people who
the
don't
plan-
know, why don't you explain while I get
Want me
another
to
drink? Do you want a drink
explain?
while I fix myself a drink?
Sure. So
Coke or cream soda?
cream.
Cream soda.
Yes. So let's see storyline. I don't know the exact storyline.
It's in between 8 and 9.
The Last Jedi.
Yep, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Resistance has set up camp.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
kinda
much.
been running from. You can take it. It's yours.
So where was I going with this? It's odd telling a story without somebody there to talk to. So I'm like, so. God, I'm like nervous.
Why?
Nothing. I'm trying to
Nervous
figure out
of
how to
the
like
show?
voice this. No.
Oh.
I'm trying to figure out how to explain this storyline because like I'm trying not to expose myself.
Gotcha. Don't expose yourself.
So, all right. The reason why the child does not fit within the storyline for Black Spire Outpost and Batuu is because he does not fit. You have Kylo Ren, you have the Resistance members. They're kind of just like avoiding each other in Black Spire Outpost. And then you have your citizens and all that. And then you're trying to like shove this basically alien, creature into the storyline. And if you know the storyline, he just does not fit. It is after The Last Jedi, I believe. And yeah, I don't know how to explain it. If you know the history and the storyline, it just does not match up. So, yeah, that's my exclamation.
It doesn't match up or add up because he is, as far as we know, alive. Which I have a theory about that, by the way. He is alive and well, but he's also a baby still. This is only 25 years. It's 25 years before The Force Awakens, and Batuu is right after The Last Jedi. So it's like, from my understanding, they literally left the Battle of Crate and headed to Batuu because it was like a place they could seek shelter and kind of build up the numbers from the Resistance. At least that's my understanding. I could be off on that, but that's why it doesn't quite add up. And somebody like me who's a purist, I actually have some issues with Galaxy's Edge. My main one is the fact that Poe's X-wing is in Rise of the Resistance when you're getting on
That is
Rise.
weird.
It drives me insane because the rest of the land, for the most part, is so insanely detailed, and then you have this like massive flaw that shouldn't be there. And I know Lucasfilm and I know Imagineering is really detailed.
You know
But
why
how
it's
does
there,
somebody-
right?
Is there a reason?
It's only because, so when you fly out in Rise, obviously he comes up on that screen and he's like, hey guys, I'm joining, like I'm gonna back you up. He's just supposed to be, it's supposed to be like a visual that he is like nearby,
I get it.
and that is
But
it.
here's the thing. They could have very easily used Batuu to explain that he got a new a new X-Wing for the Rise of Skywalker. Because remember in the Rise of Skywalker, it's that orange and blue one.
Yeah.
That black and orange one gets blown up in like the first 20 minutes of Last Jedi. So what they should have just done was explained that he got a new X-Wing and just painted it the color that it is in Rise of Skywalker. I don't know why they don't do that now. Like, I get it if you wanted to make it not make it a spoiler for Rise of Skywalker, but it came out like a week different, but
Week after.
But it was planned for earlier than that, from what I understand,
Yes.
before they had all the issues. So I get it, kind of, but it still doesn't make sense in the story.
That's the only thing I've heard of.
I
That
hate
it's just
it.
there for like a visual.
I get that
then-
part of it, but you could have used that as because he's there, and so if you know that and you've seen the Rise of Skywalker, you know what his X-wing looks like. You can piece together that that's him.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, it drives me up the wall. Like I've told the show, I'm like, Disney, give me a paintbrush in a late night and I'll fix it for you, because it needs to be fixed. It drives me insane. Anyway,
So back to Mando.
back to Mando.
All right. What you want to know?
I want a man know if you liked The Mandalorian. I like puns. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
Did you like it?
Yes,
A
yes,
lot?
I did.
Or
I wasn't that invested in it because I was like, I don't know, this is the first kind of series like that. This is the first of its series.
yeah, first live action Star Wars show.
But I like what they did with it. I think they did what they could very well, given the situation that they were in. But yes, I'm very excited for season 2.
Was there an episode that kind of stands out for you as like the one that you really liked or really disliked?
Trying to remember because it's been a while. Because I'm getting ready to go to a party to like rewatch all of them.
Oh, we did that not so long ago. It was so fun.
Yes. So I'm getting ready to rewatch all of them prior to the first one. So
That sounds like fun.
it's really
Ugh.
fun. We get together, we play sabacc.
We should do that.
We drink. We make like food, like actual food that Docking Bay 7 has.
Oh,
So
cool.
It's great.
That sounds
and
like
one of-
that sounds
like
fun.
it's the actual chef. He works at Galaxy's Edge, so like he comes over and he knows all the recipes. Like
No
the back of his
way.
hand. So he just comes over.
Oh,
and
dude,
he'll
we need to
make
have that
stuff.
guy come over and do
Yeah,
Galaxy's Edge at home.
He's really great. He does have to cut the recipes in half because like he's making them for like 500 people, and there's only like 12 of us that get together for this party. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's really great. But I'm super excited for season 2. As an episode, like what episode is my favorite, or like I don't know the characters that well, so I can't really like explain.
Did you only watch it once, like one time through?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So you're like trying to find something to like jump off of, and I can't really give you
No,
anything.
I'm not. No, I'm just curious. I was just wondering if you were like, because I watched me and Evan did this thing where because it was Fridays, I think, right? Every Thursday night, he would come over, and at like 3 a.m. when they dropped
Yes.
at midnight California
So
time,
you're
or
like
4
my,
o'clock.
my friend group. We have
Yeah.
a situation or a whole system where, say they, episode 7 was going to drop at midnight or whatever, what time it dropped. They would sit there and watch all the episodes prior to it, so that way they didn't miss any details.
That was my only problem with the show, is it didn't flow from episode to episode like I thought it would, or because they
But
had
that's what
set
they
it
would
up.
do.
They had set it up that way in the first 3 episodes, and like the first 3, I was like, "Holy shit, this is going to be awesome!"
Yes.
And then episodes 4, 5, and 6 were like, it just like the way I described it was it just completely took all the momentum and just like slammed the brakes.
I think so. I can't tell you what episode it was, but I like the episode where it kind of gave you the backstory on the Mandalorian himself and like why he is the way he is.
Yeah, that like with the droids
Yes.
and stuff.
Yes, where he was like shoved in a little bunker.
Yeah,
And
uh-huh.
I
And
think
they
I like
revealed
that one
that
the
it was,
most because
That it was the Mandalorian that saved him from.
yes,
Yeah.
And I think I like that episode the most because as somebody who is like, I say just stepping into the Star Wars realm of knowledge, it kind of opened my eyes as to what Mandalorian or Mandalore people
You'll learn
were.
more about them in Clone Wars and Rebels if you dive into
Yes.
Rebels.
Hey. Yeah.
Did you know what the dark... Spoiler alert for Mandalorian Season 1. I don't know why you'd be listening to this if you haven't watched that. But anyway. Did you know what the Darksaber was? Like at the end? Were you like...
I did not know what that was, but I
bought one.
a lot of...
One of the toys?
No!
I bought it like last week. Bought it the other day.
I have a lot of Star Wars friends that are just like you. And, I was like, what the heck is this,
They were freaking out. They're like, oh,
They were
shit.
freaking out, and I was like, please explain this. And now I know what it is. Like, I see it all the time in Black Spire Outposts. There's a lot of people that actually do bring them into the land, and I'm like, what are you doing, you weirdo? But, yeah. They're very excited about it. But,
It was a cool ending.
yeah.
It opened up more questions and answers, though.
Yes,
Again,
it did.
that's the Star Wars way.
Yeah.
This is the way. They're just gonna open up all these questions and
This
give
is
no
the way.
answers.
It
But-
is cool, though, because I really do like what the Star Wars, like, community does, because, like, watching the Clone Wars, as much as you hate it, like, the first time I ever saw Hondo Ohnaka, like, in season 1 or 2, I literally texted my friends, and I was like, oh, my God, guys, and they were like, yes.
Yeah,
we
that's why
know.
he's there at Galaxy's
We
Edge.
know. And I was like, guys, I'm so excited, and they sucked the fun out of it.
Hello, my friends.
Yes.
I am Hondo Ohnaka.
Yes.
I've had the voice of Hondo on the show.
Wow.
Jim Cummings. You know who Jim Cummings is?
No.
He's the voice of Pooh, Tigger,
Wow.
Hondo Ohnaka, Darkwing
Okay.
Duck. He's
Yes.
in Aladdin. He was in Lion.
you
He
seen
sang
him?
"Be Prepared" from The Lion King.
Wow.
Yeah, had him on
Have
the
you
show.
seen him walk around Black Spire Outpost?
I haven't seen him. No, I have. I've never met him in person. We did the show
He
once.
has walked around Black Spire Outpost.
Has he?
Yes.
Here?
Yes. It is very awkward because, yeah, I've turned around and he's been standing there, and you're like, sir.
Are you okay? This is such a random question. Are you? Do you like the show Phineas and Ferb? Did you ever watch it?
Phineas and Ferb?
Yeah.
When I was very, very young.
Oh my
Yes.
God! Yeah, you were young. Did
Okay.
you ever watch the Star Wars Phineas and Ferb?
No.
Oh,
but I
it's
know.
so
I
good.
know.
You need to watch it. We
Okay.
talked about this on the last show too, just because
Disney Plus. Yeah.
yeah, my kids are big into Phineas and Ferb right now because I just keep like making them watch it because it's just such a great show. It's great. It's a great family show.
Okay.
It's one of the very few shows where it's like it's got kid humor and adult humor. That's just so perfect. But the Star Wars one's great, and you should watch it because it ties a lot of stuff. You might like A New Hope more.
No. Well, it's odd for me because I grew up in a family where we didn't have like a TV. I mean, we had a TV, but my family encouraged me to go outside and play. We also every summer we traveled. I've been to every state in the United States.
That's cool.
So literally, I did not spend my summers in front of a TV playing video games. I traveled with my family, and I'm very blessed for that.
That's awesome.
So like when people kind of laugh about not calling you out here, but they're like, oh, you didn't watch Phineas and Ferb. No, because I didn't see the need. I think the last cartoon that I watched was like Jimmy Neutron, and that
Oh,
was like
yeah.
elementary school.
I remember when that was just a movie.
Yeah.
Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. I remember
Jimmy
going to see
Neutron,
a
I went
screening
back
of that.
and rewatched some of the episodes. It has a lot of adult humor in it.
Does it
that
really?
Yes, that I did not realize that it had. I was like, damn.
But those are the best cartoons that do that, where it's like you can watch it with your kids and they don't quite get the joke, but because it's like
Well, same with like Shrek or something.
yeah,
Like
it's perfect.
you
Or
watch
any
that as
Pixar
you were
movies
young
like
and
that.
You're like, what?
Like Inside Out was that way.
Yes.
Like where it's like cute and kiddie, but it's also like there's some jokes in there, like with the the mom's brain, where it was like that, like I shouldn't say with that guy, like the flight attendant or whatever.
Yes.
You're like, oh, that's hilarious, and the kids don't get what they're saying, but it's just funny. That's all Phineas and Ferb is, and there's just like little tiny jokes that just crack me up in the show.
Yes.
It's such a great show. I'm so glad that it came back for that movie. Anyway, I would just brought that up to say, if you like Phineas and Ferb, watch the
Okay.
Phineas and Ferb Star Wars because it's cool.
I'll let you know how I feel about
Do
it.
you think we're gonna get? Okay, this is the question I want to ask. What do you think is gonna happen to the child?
The child. I had my theories like right when the last episode came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen. So I got to think about the last episode. So basically, he's saved, right? The guy was trying to get him. Blah blah blah. I can't tell you names because I'm not that
Moff
educated.
Gideon, the guy with the
Yes.
Darksaber.
So I think obviously the Mando was like, I'm going to go out and try and find his home, right? Is that what he was like?
I need to
suggesting?
rewatch it because it's been a while for me too. But like from what I remember, it was like, all right, now we're on to the next adventure, and I just kind of don't know what that means.
Maybe left
he
like
isn't.
a giant
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember what the whole. I need to go see. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch it tonight now. Last episode because I don't remember.
I think Moff Gideon is gonna meet up with Mando again. Obviously, I think they're just gonna follow each other.
Yeah, I think so too. It's gonna be a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Of him like chasing him down and getting him and.
I think they're gonna go try and find the child's like place of origin or like a home or something. I don't know. There's a massive cliffhanger. Like, where do you go from that? Like, yeah, I have this green thing, and now I'm gonna go off into space.
I think there's only one way this ends.
The child gonna die?
100%. It has to, because
like it doesn't hurt my feelings because I'm not that,
Unless you're gonna do episode 10, 11, 12, and he's the main character, like this has to. This can't. I mean,
I don't see it being.
You know what would be amazing if they did 10, 11, 12, and it's when Rey is a lot older, and the child finds Rey on Tatooine. Like Rey's just camped out on Tatooine.
Merge? Like the storylines are gonna merge.
And I mean, if he's force sensitive. We see him, use the Force several times throughout the series, and I think he's Yoda's son.
With Yodel?
I think maybe. I think he knocked up somebody. And then when he went into hiding, he didn't know that he had a kid. And it's about 50 years. Kind of adds up.
That's the thing. You just don't even know how. I mean, do we know what type of creature Yoda is?
No. So that's the whole thing. Like they've never said the species. They never said the planet they're from.
Yes.
And I think they're going. They can't introduce this character and just not bring this up.
Yeah.
Like that's. I feel like
maybe it'll give you some info about Yoda's origins. Like maybe it'll go into the history of Yoda.
I think so, and I think that's too why I don't know how much you pay attention to like all the expanded universe stuff, like the books and stuff. But they just released that Yoda is going to play a big role in the new High Republic book series that's coming out.
Okay. Which
is about 200 years before the Phantom Menace, and it's about like when the Jedi were at their peak and the Sith had been destroyed, and like they kind of I think the Sith are going to like slowly start to come back, and they're going to have to like keep trying to wipe them out. But somebody's eventually going to make it through. Who's Darth Maul? Who find Insidious, and they find each other, and blah blah blah. That's what I think is going to happen. But I bring that up to say, it's just. Every time I watch him, this is like a weird exposition to get to this point. But I'm big into movie making and how they make movies, and there's the thing is like you don't waste screen time, and if they show a character, anytime I watch a movie, I know how this is going to end. Like, not like a normal movie either, like Cabin in the Woods. I called Cabin in the Woods when I was watching it. Just because I get that, like, how filmmakers make movies is you don't show something that isn't important. Mm-hmm. And so I think as storytellers, you wouldn't be introducing Yoda to this High Republic series if he wasn't important to the High Republic, which we all know he is already, if you weren't going to somehow tie this back to the child. Because I think that both those things could line up. And yes, it's 200 years before, but the child's 50 years old. So like if you go the line from him to, him fleeing, that's that's 50 years, right?
Yeah. It's close enough. I mean, it is a theory.
So I just don't see how they can't tie it to Yoda. I mean, for Christ's sake, everyone calls him Baby Yoda. And I had to explain to people that this takes place after the original trilogy. Like, I remember when the show came out, and I was on Twitter, and I was like, guys, no. This is not before all that. This is way after. This is right before, 25 years before The Force Awakens. People were like, oh, so it isn't Baby Yoda. I'm like, no, it's okay to call him that. And I think Disney's done a really good job of, pushing the child. Give him a name.
Yeah. Well, obviously he can't communicate with Mando.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a time gap between season 1 and 2, and there might be, but not a noticeable one from what we saw on the EW thing. But I don't know. I was never that excited for The Mandalorian. I went to a Star Wars Celebration in Chicago when they announced the big panel where they showed the trailer and they showed us stuff that they didn't show anyone else.
Yes.
Like they literally didn't show it to the. So have you ever been to a convention like that, like a big convention?
No, I wanted to go this year, and
Dreams
thank
were
you,
dashed.
COVID.
Dreams were dashed. I have to wait till 2022. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what they do is like they'll have you in this giant arena, and that's like where the main panel is, and then they'll stream that panel to other rooms, and normally if you're in one of those other rooms, they'll stream whatever they're showing you there, but they won't show it to the rest of the convention floor on those big TVs. They didn't show it to those other small rooms. So if you were not in that room, you didn't see it, and nothing ever really got leaked.
Wow.
And which is insane.
To have been there would have been amazing.
It was insane, but I felt like I was the only one who wasn't excited. Because we saw the trailer, and we were actually sitting next to my friend Alex, who used to be the co-host of this podcast. He was a Disney college program, an ICP from Australia. And he's a good buddy of mine. I love him. He actually writes for the website Star Wars Newsnet. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but he writes for them, and he's one of the best people I know. And I love and miss you, buddy. Come on the show again soon. But we were there. We were sitting next to the Mando Mercs, which is like the 501st for Mandalorians.
Yeah. Yes.
And they just were just erupting, and like the energy was so insane. And I remember being like, I'm the only one who doesn't care about this. And because I just, when they showed the footage, I can
see you just like standing
but
there.
I'm not a curmudgeon. Like I'm usually pretty positive about Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
I am. And I just remember being like, the reason I didn't like it was because the footage they showed was very jokey, and it was like not making fun of Star Wars, but it was just like they were showing you all these things, and you're just like, I get it. It's a Star Wars show. Okay, we're in Star Wars. Like,
but it was the first of its kind. So
I get that, but
that.
The problem is they showed that, and they showed it like it was that was how the narrative was going to go. So I'll just tell you, the scene they showed was the scene where he goes in and he talks to, I almost said Werner von Braun, and that's not the right guy.
The First Order guy?
Yes, what's his name? Crap. Hang on. It's the guy that talks like this. It's...
Give me the child.
Give me the child. What's his name? Werner Herzog. Good Lord. Werner. It was that scene, the very first time they meet. Yeah. But they showed it out of context in a weird way, and it was just like literally like it was like they showed the Salacious Crumb species. They showed a Gonk droid. They showed the eye from Jabba's palace. They showed like 5 other things that you're just like, it looked like you were on Tatooine again, and it was just like, I don't like when they beat you over the head with like, you're in Star Wars. That's why I love Batuu, is because you're in Star Wars, but there's nothing like in your face about it. Like it just feels like you're there. And it's not like they try to. You're in Star Wars. Make sure like.
That's what
I can't really explain
intended.
it. I can't really explain it, but like it doesn't beat you over the head with references. Everything's pretty subtle.
What the Imagineers intended about Black Spire Outpost and Batuu is that choices matter, and I say that loosely, but also
because that didn't
strictly, because choices do matter. They want you to choose the side that you're going to be on. You can join the First Order, you can join the Resistance, and you have that choice, or you can be a scoundrel. You can hack into stuff. That is,
I love hacking into things.
Why choices matter.
Oh,
and that's actually in like the Imagineering like textbook. Choices do matter.
They were. I feel okay. We could talk about this for a 3-hour podcast. They dropped the ball with the interactivity. I just don't feel like they went as far with it as they even intended themselves. That's a story for another time.
Okay.
But we're talking about Mandalorian. I forget what we're talking about.
I went off on a tangent. Sorry,
it's okay.
guys.
No. I just forgot what we're talking about. Oh, the references. But it was just like, that's why I like Batuu, because they don't like, there's no like overt reference. Like even the things that are references are subtle, and some of them took me a while to find. Like in Docking Bay 7, seeing like the carbonite.
Yes.
That took me like 4 months into it, and I saw it. I was like, whoa, that's so cool.
You've seen the green statue out in front of docks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Imperial probe droid. You know, those are all small things that don't like beat you over the head.
Very subtle.
And I love that about it. And Mandalorian, the trailer just was the opposite of that. And so I'm watching it and I'm like, I don't like the tone of this. Like but the show ended up not being that.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful I was wrong. But I give this show like a C+. I think they did a lot with the technology for it, how they filmed it. Did you watch the Disney Gallery on how they made it?
Yes.
It's insane.
It's amazing.
It's unreal. Like the way they were able to make that technology work for a TV show is just insanity. But the story itself, I felt like if the first 3 episodes were stretched across 7 episodes, it would have been better. Because I feel like, or 8 episodes, but because the stuff that happened in the middle, like those 3 episodes, like the one where they go to Tatooine was boring to tears. The one where they, what's one after that? Oh, I'm sorry. Episode 4 where they go to that planet and it's like where you find Cara Dune. Outside of seeing that character, that whole episode is useless.
Yes.
Then the one after that where they do go to Tatooine. Then the one after that where it's the heist mission.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Burr, who is like my favorite comedian of all time, is in that episode.
Yep.
And I do you know who Bill Burr is?
No.
He's the ball-headed guy that plays Mayfeld.
Okay.
He's an
yes,
amazing comedian.
Okay. Yes.
I love him. But then there's like the 2-part finale, right? Where Quell dies, and then the thing where it picks up where IG-88 goes into town and wrecks shop. But like episodes 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8 are fantastic. The middle stuff is just like
it's just kind of filler.
It doesn't. It's filler to the extreme because it has nothing to do with the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you want a show to be episodic, that's fine, and like tell these little self-contained stories, that's cool. But don't set up the show to be a storytelling show, and then 3 episodes in, drop that, and then do something else, and then pick it back up at the end.
Yep.
Like, I hated that about that show. That's why I gave it a C+. But the stuff that's really good is like next level. I mean, it's really, really good.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to season 2. I hope maybe they learn some creative lessons. Who not to let direct a show. Bryce Dallas Howard, she's terrible. And let Deborah Chow just do the whole thing, man, because she's badass.
She was great.
She's badass. The way she directed episode 3 and episode 8, 7. We're just the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to it. So, and you have any predictions for season 2 of Mandalorian? Anything you want to throw out there? Some maybes? Any characters you think are going to bite the dust?
Let's see. I got to remember, you're just like me. So.
You have Cara Dune, who is like the shock trooper, the chick.
Yeah.
You have Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. You have the child. You have Quell, who died. And then you Moff Gideon, and then I'm trying to remember the.
I really don't think there'll be any major deaths.
Somebody's got to go. Cara Dune, maybe. I think so. I think somebody's gonna bite the dust.
They can't get rid of her.
Gina Carano. I think they're gonna get rid of her.
I mean, hey, we all thought Chewie died, so.
I really did. I really thought he was. That got me so hard in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
The first thing I did is I looked over at Holly and I was like, we cannot bring Britt to this because Britt loves Chewie. Has like 3 or 4 Chewie pluses. She just like takes doesn't like characters but like loves Chewie for whatever reason. And I was like, oh,
he gives the best hugs.
He does give the best hugs. That's
he will
true.
also rip off your arms.
I've heard that.
Yes.
If you lose him and let him win or lose him in Sabak.
I don't know. I really do not know who's gonna die.
I'm trying to find the name of Carl Weathers' character. I can't find it. Why is he not listed on this? Oh, sorry, Grief Karga. There he is. Grief Karga, the guy who's like the bounty hunter guy who like.
Okay, yeah.
Get out of here, that guy. I love that guy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2. I just hope it. I hope I feel differently about season 2 than I felt about season 1. Because I was like surprised. Remember the first episode, I was like, oh, whoa, this is way different than I thought it was going to be. And then it was like, okay, it's about what I thought it was going to be.
So in season 1, they showed him. Did they show him taking off his helmet?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Last episode.
But the girl was not there with him.
No,
right?
he did it with IG-11 right before IG-11 died.
Okay.
Because he's not a person, so he was like, let him save him.
I could see him taking off his helmet, kind of like retiring.
Ooh.
You know?
And
I would just kind of ending at that.
You know what I would really like to see in season 2? I'd like to see him go back to Mandalore and have like issues with the way that they do things, and have him like maybe defect from being a Mandalorian. Like, give me some character growth from him, because he didn't have any in the first season.
Okay.
He was like a badass the whole way through.
Yeah. Maybe go on like the backstory.
Yeah.
Backstory of the child, and then backstory of...
I want to know more about the child. You got to give me some stuff on it. Like, where is he from?
Watch it just be like 20 minutes. Boom.
That's
all you get out of the whole season.
Give me something. I'll take 20 minutes. Give me something. I'll take it.
One episode only. That's
I'll take it. The child.
Yikes.
There was some other news that I wanted to get your take on, but I got to pull it up because I forgot what it was, and I don't prepare for these. So there's that.
Apparently, I have a horrible taste. So
you have horrible
Empire
taste.
Strikes Back, all of that.
That's a weird take. I will be honest. That's a weird one. That's a weird one.
Can we just talk about Luke's luck when he falls?
Oh yeah, please do. I think that's a hilarious take.
Okay, I do have a photo I want to discuss with you.
Please. Oh, I remember what it was. It was the Sims Galaxy's Edge.
Ooh.
Are you a Sims fan?
No, but I saw it and I was like, ooh.
It seems so weird. It seems so strange. Like, why wouldn't they just make a Galaxy's Edge game? Like, why would they?
It is really odd.
Why would they make the Sims Galaxy's Edge? It makes no sense.
So my old roommate, she is like a Sims purist. Like, she has like everything to do with Sims. So much so that she like recreated our whole apartment, like made us boyfriends and all that. And I was like, Jesus, calm down. So that's really funny to say that. But I immediately called her and I was like, do you see what's coming? And she's like, everybody is so pissed. But she's like, I'm excited. It's like, okay, have fun with that.
Everyone, I've never seen such hatred and
over
vitriol
it.
towards.
It's actually pretty cheap. Like,
well, my thing is just don't buy it. Like, it doesn't make a difference. It's not like they're manually.
It's just like an extra
It's not like they're
package.
doing the U2 thing where they like automatically put it
Yes.
on your iPod.
Yeah.
Like, they're not making you download the game. Like,
yes.
like you don't have to buy it. It's okay. But like, it is it's such a weird combo that I don't really get whose idea this was. It doesn't make any sense.
Hey, you know what would be good? Galaxy's Edge.
But like, why would you're EA? So why would you like? Okay, think about this. Think about how dope a Galaxy's Edge role-playing game would be
Yes.
if it wasn't The Sims. Because The Sims look like shit. Like, let's just be real. The Sims graphics look terrible. Like the fact that the PS5 is coming out, and you still have these like noodly looking fucking people.
Are you
like,
a PlayStation or Xbox person?
I don't care, but I have an Xbox.
Respect.
Okay, I don't. I'm not like
I'm
a.
an Xbox.
It's not a Coke or Pepsi thing for me. I just bought it because it was cheaper.
Well, it should be.
And my friends have Xboxes. So that's
Okay.
why I bought an Xbox.
All your friends are cool.
And I literally bought an Xbox for Jedi Fallen Order,
Okay.
which was not a great game. It was it was fine. The gameplay
Wasn't there
was
a
terrible.
new like pod racer game that just came out too?
There was on the
Okay.
Nintendo Switch, and
All of my
I'll kick your ass in it.
quotation nerd friends, they messaged me and they were like, "Did you get the new pod racer game?"
It's so fun.
And I was like, I kind of just played along and I was like, "Yeah, absolutely," because I didn't get it. And they were
Mocking
like,
them.
who's your driver or who's your pilot or whatever? And I was like, Anakin, of course. I just like threw out a random name.
They're like, oh, Anakin, really?
They went off, like they freaked out.
I like Dud Bolt.
I literally just like I played along with it, and they didn't even know.
That's that's so funny. It was remastered for the Switch and I think the PlayStation maybe. But it's fun. It was just the game from the
There was, like, a
N64. They
re-release.
re-released it
Yeah.
and made it look HD, but
were
not
so
look better.
excited.
Oh, dude, I was so crunk. I was so mad that day that I went out and tried to download it and it wasn't there. And I had looked on Twitter and it was like, it's been delayed. I was like, you mother. I was like,
You monsters.
you sons of bitches. I was so mad. But yeah, I beat it in like 3 days, like 2 weeks, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me a
Pro.
while, but I loved that game. I grew up playing that game. It was nostalgia.
Yes.
It was nostalgia for me from the N64 days, but it was awesome. But they're doing the same. They just did the same thing with Tony Hawk. Like they remastered Tony Hawk, and I'm like, ooh, I might have to buy this. It looks so fun. I grew up playing those games too. Oh,
I grew up playing that too.
I love Tony. I remember some of my favorite times was playing Tony Hawk Underground with my friend Mike, who lived across the street, playing online together, like with the headsets on, like late night. Oh, so fun. So fun. But yeah, that's why I'm excited about, I don't know, Tony Hawk, I guess. We're talking Tony Hawk now on the podcast.
Speaking of video games, I did play a lot of Xbox growing up. So
Yeah?
like if I wasn't traveling, I did play a lot of Xbox growing up.
What was your go-to game?
Okay, ironically enough, I used to play with my dad all the time. So don't judge.
No judgment.
But the Simpsons game, we would play that thing hardcore.
Which one?
I
The
don't
Road
think
Rage?
No.
The one that was like Crazy Taxi?
It came out with like the Simpsons movie.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And we would play that all the time. And I don't know why that was our go-to game. Also, Gears of War and Halo. That's what we would play all the
I
time,
loved
too.
Gears of War. Gears of War is fun.
Gears of War was a little too gory for like me, but I loved Halo. Like
I still play Halo to this day.
it's amazing.
It's
Have you
so
seen the new
fun.
one that's coming out?
No, there's a new one coming out?
Yes.
Oh,
I
take
think there's
my
a new
money.
one coming out. I just saw
Is it for the
previews.
new PlayStation or the new Xbox?
Yes. And
When
the
does that come
graphics
out?
on it are
got a-
amazing.
Got a hair that's like
So
driving me nuts.
hang on. Let me
I
look.
hate
it up.
having a beard. I don't know if I'm going to get a new Xbox. I mean, I'm just such not a, like. I'm excited for the Star Wars Squadrons coming out. Like the closer
I
we
don't know
get to
anything
that,
about that.
you don't.
No.
Oh well, let your boy tell you what's going on.
Okay. Well, hang on here. We should probably mention that my brother has stolen my Xbox.
Well,
so
I know a guy who has an Xbox who's going to be
Okay.
downloading this the day it
Well,
comes out, and we
hello.
should do a sabacc party
Okay.
and play Squadrons because it looks amazing.
Okay.
Amazing. Bring your
Alright.
friend the chef, and we can have some Endorian tip yip.
You would actually get along with my friend.
I bet I
He
would.
Is hardcore like into Star Wars.
I wonder if he listens to the podcast.
What?
I know some people who in Galaxy's Edge who do listen to the podcast who have told me so while I'm in the land.
You want to name them?
I don't know their names.
Okay.
I'm a horrible person. I'm vain. I was like, oh, thanks, and then kept walking.
Okay.
I also don't like people talking
Because
to
I
me about
used to
the
play
show.
Sabacc with people in the land, and
I just played it. I've had it since I bought it at the opening of Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, and I just played it the other day for the first time.
Wow. I
My
remember
dream is to play
was
it
sold
in
out
Oga's
all the
Cantina.
time. Oh, I played like multiple times, and the bartenders, they interact with it. Some
No
of them
way,
are like,
really?
Some of them are into it. They're like, oh, what's happening? Some of them are like, we don't want anything to do with that. Give me your credits. Like, yeah, it's awesome. The people I play with, they have like Imperial credits and stuff like that. We play with different types of credits. It's amazing. It is so
That's so cool. I
Um,
found an Etsy shop that makes the Spira, like
Wow.
for Sabacc, and I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, I really kind of want to buy this. It's
Have fun
so
with
sick.
that. Yeah,
I got the silver Spira.
lucky.
I know. Are they out of them?
I actually do not know, because I actually haven't been in a while.
Oh,
So
I'm gonna go tomorrow.
I still have two original ones that still are full and everything, and they're just sitting there, $200
got-
just sitting on my desk. I'm like, hey.
I got the gold one in Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland on opening day, and I got this one on basically the 1 year celebration. It was like a year and a day, and because
Okay.
for whatever reason they didn't have it out on the anniversary, which is such a missed opportunity. They could have done something. They did nothing for the 1 year of Galaxy's Edge.
Halo Infinite.
Infinite. Uh-oh.
Yes. So, blah, reboots the franchise, and it's coming
What?
to the next gen Xbox
It
Series
reboots
X.
the franchise? So it's not going to be Master Chief anymore?
It's coming in 2021.
Ooh.
So look into that. I know there's
Oh,
like
done.
I watched a live stream of them like playing it, and it's amazing.
I'm so in.
That's all I have to say about it. Just go look it up. Gameplay reveal right there.
Oh, there's a gameplay trailer?
Yes.
Oh, I'm done. I'm going to watch this.
Ah! Just go watch it. It's
Oh, I'm going to watch
amazing.
it. I loved
So-
Halo.
I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you like Lego Star Wars?
I've never really played Lego Star Wars. I think it's silly, and I think it's really cool that they're letting they're letting people be silly with Star Wars again. Thumbs down on Lego
Oh,
Star
I
Wars?
thought you were like gonna thumbs down it.
No.
So growing up, that's the other game that I played besides the weird Simpsons game. Now that I say that, I'm like, oh my god, The Simpsons. That's all I played. And then Halo and Gears of War.
You're like, I was Homer Simpson, and then I murdered people with a chainsaw gun. It was exciting. My childhood was great.
Okay, so you know The Simpsons ride in Universal?
Yeah.
That's literally what the game is. You're just like going through that segment, and it's on crack,
Really?
literally.
Is it like a role-playing, like a Sims kind of game?
No.
'Cause I don't even remember the game coming out.
Yeah,
And I'm a big Simpsons fan. I love The Simpsons.
you would be.
I love The Simpsons. It's
They're
hilarious.
great. They're great.
Great. The episode where they go to that theme park
Yes.
is the Itchy and
I
Scratchy
mean, there's
Land?
more
Oh.
to it. There's more to it because like you can walk through the town.
Oh, that's cool.
Like you can be shoot, what's the baby's name? I can't remember.
Maggie.
Maggie. We love Maggie. You can, grow her inside. And oh my God, stop.
That's her little.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like having flashbacks to playing this game. Wow. But yes, I just remember playing that. But also, besides the games that I've already mentioned, Lego Star Wars, I'm so excited for that to come out.
I'm excited to see. Like we talked about it the other day on the show, and my thought was I liked that Disney, when they first acquired Star Wars, took Star Wars very seriously.
Yes.
And because I think you needed to, when you had all the hyperspace hoopla and Darth Goofy and Jedi Mickey and all that shit, which I hate.
It's cute.
Nope, I hate it.
It is cute.
I mean, it's cute, but also no, I hate it.
It doesn't like go with anything.
It
But
doesn't make
it's
any
also
sense.
Cute.
It's dumb. It's silly. Like
Okay.
for me, I'm saying for me.
Just nod your
I
head and
just,
agree.
It's just not my thing. And then whoever likes it, God bless you. It's just not my thing. But I
Okay.
really thought when they bought it, like I was like, oh, they're gonna make like a Cars X-wing movie. Like I really was like, they're not gonna take this seriously, and they've done the opposite. They've made it very
Yes.
almost sacred, where like you can't like, because we were talking about like the Family Guy Star Wars is hilarious,
Yes.
and they own Fox now, and they still won't let them do anything like that ananymore, which because
Yeah.
it's Disney.
But
I like that they're being somewhat silly with it, and they're kind of going like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's not that serious. Like you can
Yeah.
play Lego Star Wars."
Yes.
Because did they ever do like an episode? Because they used to do like each individual movie had its own Lego game,
Mm-hmm.
and did they do that for The Force Awakens and Last Jedi?
No, that's going to be included in this. It's like the whole Skywalker.
Oh, is it?
saga.
Oh,
That's why
I
it's
want
like,
a Lego Han Solo movie, solo game.
yes.
That would be fun.
It's really cool because like when you go, have you seen the preview for? Oh my God!
No, it's actually the only thing we didn't watch the day when we were getting
You gotta
ready
go
because we
watch
were
the
both like,
preview for the Lego Star Wars because my brother and I used to play it a lot. I mean, I was the one that was like, get every stud so we can get characters. Like, please, because once you get those characters, you can go unlock everything, and yeah. So I'm excited for it, but you can also tap into those last 3 movies.
yeah, I'm curious.
Because that's what I was like. Is it going to have the last 3 movies included into the Skywalker saga? The whole collection. And then it showed like Rey fighting Kylo in like Lego form.
Yes.
Whoa.
I might have to play it because I think it'd be really fun to see how they like cutesy up The Last Jedi. Because of all the Star Wars movies,
Well,
that
when
one's
you go-
kind of like dark.
When you go and watch the preview, there's a lot of humor. Like if you know Lego Star Wars, everything's like quirky and like fun.
That's what I love about it.
And so there's like mini videos before you start your segment or whatever segment you are in. And they show bits of those videos.
Sweet.
Before, like in the preview. It's so cute. Or I guess cool. Not cute, but cool.
It's cute.
So,
It's Lego. It's cute.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Give me. We'll end here. Give me your favorite place inside Galaxy's Edge.
Goodness. I don't know. I've been so many times that. Let's see.
You've done Rise, I assume.
Yes.
How many times?
Like 5 times.
Okay.
Though it keeps breaking down. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the first time I ever wrote it was...
Spoilers for Rise of the Resistance.
Yes, the first time I ever wrote it was Christmas Day. I got there early and was able to write it through and it was great. It was definitely one of those things where you ride through and you are like, oh my God, I am here. I actually felt like I was in another galaxy and I was a part of a story. And, when you go to Black Spire Outpost or Batuu or wherever you feel like you are, when you visit Black Spire Outpost, you feel like you're there, but once you get on that ride, it is something truly breathtaking. And that is the reason why it is the best ride. And I do say that.
It is,
honestly.
by far.
A lot of people I know are like, no, Mickey and Minnie's. And I'm like, okay,
no.
All right. I mean, I get what you're saying.
I like
it
Mickey
is nice,
and Minnie. It's fun,
like,
but
also,
it's
no.
It's not. It's not even close.
Yeah. Like, I had a friend that just rode it actually yesterday. It was her first time riding it yesterday because she's from Colorado. And I met up with her, and she was like, this is amazing. I saw the AT-ATs or AT-ATs, whichever, everybody pronounces it differently. And she goes, I just started crying because I was there, and I did not realize how big they were. And she,
So I cry. Have you ever seen my reaction of getting off of it?
No, I have not.
I'll find it for you before you
Okay.
leave because I'm again a lifelong Star Wars fan,
Yes.
and it was so overwhelming to me that I started crying. Like I was just like getting off it. I was just like, that is insane. It's one of those things where it's like, how intelligent and creative the Imagineering people are, the Imagineers. You know how insanely talented they are and how they have this vision for things. And, you always hear stories about how things don't go the way they wanted it to. And I know that happened within Galaxy's Edge just because, the restaurant that we were promised we never got. Did you ever see that video so there was a video on Disneyland's 60th anniversary TV special.
Okay.
Where they were
Which
talking about
there.
Galaxy's Edge.
I was at Disneyland.
For the 60th? You went during the 60th? I never got to go for the 60th. I went like a year after for my first time.
I was there for the 50th and 60th.
Oh, that's cool. You know how I feel old? Because I feel like I feel so old. I came as a kid for the 25th at Disney World.
Wow.
And then next year's the 50th. I feel so old. But so Harrison Ford was like talking about Galaxy's Edge, and they showed like you're going to be able to. He's like grumpy Harrison's like, you're going to be able to eat in Star Wars, and you're going to go to this. Like the Oga's Cantina was literally a waiting room for the restaurant.
Yes.
And we never got that. And I think we're going to get it eventually. I think we're probably going to see it in the next year or two. I think it depends on, what happens with COVID. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen with
I just zipped my lips
happens.
because I can't say anything.
Just happens with COVID and, the Galactic Star Cruiser I think is going to play. I think we're eventually going to get it.
Yes.
But I was really hoping for that. Like I really remember that being like a big deal. What was I talking about?
You were talking about my favorite area, and I'm going to tell you. So
Yes.
favorite area would have to be, I have like multiple, so I can't give you, I think
Oh,
favorite.
we're talking about Rise of the Resistance. That's what we were talking about.
Well, we were talking about like what's your favorite area
Yeah.
in Black Spire Outpost, but also like, and then we skirted off, and I was talking about Rise, as we always do.
Ugh,
But
Rise.
I think my favorite area is probably, of course, in front of the Falcon. I remember seeing it for the first time. I got in on a cast preview. I was brought in as a guest with one of my friends, and I remember seeing it, and it just like, it took my breath away. And so obviously that little ledge there where you're overlooking everything and you can see all the spires in the background, that's probably my favorite place right there.
That's a good place.
Yeah. Because if you do a full 360, you can see, Cookie's spaceship up there. You can see Doc Ondar's,
You can see the Black Spire.
Yeah.
You can see.
My other favorite areas are right out. I don't know if you've ever been to, for the people that are listening, if you wait in line to get into Oga's, there's a small little staircase right there. If you stand there, obviously now with COVID, it's not very crowded and noisy. But if you stand there, like after 5, you can actually hear Oga arguing with.
She does it here?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard it here, but I heard it
So,
opening day at Disneyland.
She argues with people.
Yeah, and you hear her shoot somebody.
Yes, she shoots people.
God, that happens here?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's my favorite area. Because I'll stand there and I'll just drink my blue milk. I'll stand there. and just listen to it, and you kind of chuckle a little bit, and you're like, that's so funny. But she does that, and then also my other favorite area is right when the sun goes down. Right, it's kind of in the Florida location, because I've never been to the Disneyland.
It's the same exact thing.
I know that they have like an extra tunnel. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's it. But I think that's gonna be used for the Star Cruiser here.
So right before you enter the marketplace, and then there's that right pathway that leads you to the right of the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
If you look up and you see all the spires, right when the sun goes down, they're like a mixture of blue and purple, and it looks like you're looking at the Rocky Mountains or something. And it is something from a different world, and it just takes your breath away. You're like, holy crap. Because you have to take like a couple glances, and you're like, oh my God, I'm on a different planet. And you're really not, but I mean, it gives you that
feels like, that's the thing. That's the thing about Disney is like, it feels it. Like I remember my first moment, you brought up your first time walking into Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
I remember mine. I was at Disneyland opening day with some friends, and we were all just like giddy. But I'm like by far, and I mean by far, the biggest Star Wars fan of the people that I went with. Like I had people ask me like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "This is an Thorian."
You idiot!
Like, how do you not know, you dummy? Like, I'm just talking junk to these people, and my Holly. So the thing was like, she's like, "Okay, you can go to Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland," because the original plan was we were just going to go for the first time here. And I just got like too amped up at Celebration, and I'm like, I have to go.
I'm going.
Because they did a parks panel. That's where I got that, that Coke shirt that I wear from time to time.
Okay, yes.
That was given to us at the panel at Star Wars Celebration. That's where that shirt comes from.
Okay.
The real one, you can tell because it has the Coke logo and the Galaxy's Edge logo on one side.
Okay.
The fake ones are from Etsy, and I hate them. But Coke actually made those shirts to give away at the panel, which is super. And the only people who were there that day got them.
Wow.
And we were there, and
my friend has one, so I do know.
Yeah. And I love that shirt, but I just got too amped up, and I was like, I have to go opening day. Like, there's no way I can just sit here at home in Orlando while this thing's being built here and finishing up, and just being on Twitter and watching everybody go in and like, because I know me,
you're gonna hate yourself.
I'm gonna be tempted to watch it.
Yes.
I'm not gonna, but I'm gonna because I don't do spoilers, but like I'm gonna be tempted to watch it, and like I don't want to do that. She's like, okay, you can go. If you promise me that you will not film yourself going into the land for the first time, but if you'll FaceTime me. And I was like, deal. So I FaceTimed her, and Disneyland's a little different the way it's set up.
Yes.
The way you walk in here by Muppet Vision, you go to the right and rises on your left, and you see the X-Wing on the far left, and then on your right is the A-Wing.
Yes.
At Disneyland, they're both there right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a little bit of a, if I remember right, I haven't been since opening day and one other times in like a few months after opening day. But like, I feel like there's like a little like kind of walk around area. You can kind of walk in between the two of them. But I turned the corner and I see the A-Wing, and I just burst into tears. I was like, oh my God, it's real. Like, this is real.
Yeah.
And I just started crying. And she's like, oh my God, it's so cute watching you get this excited about it. And then I remember I FaceTimed her all the way through the marketplace and right up until I saw the Falcon. And I was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the amount of people who see that thing and just burst into tears that I still see is insane. And
I wish I could tell you stories.
It's just unreal. And it's one of those things where like, you think you have it in your head of like what it's going to look like and feel like when you're there. I'm getting choked up now talking about it. But then like when you actually see it, it's completely, it's just different. It's weird.
It is.
It's hard to explain because like you know what the Falcon looks like, but like when you're there and you can walk underneath it and you can see that it's real. And it's 1-to-1 scale. Like that's the actual. That is the actual Millennium Falcon. Yep. Like they've Lucasfilm themselves said they've never built a full on Millennium Falcon because when you're building it, you're building it as a set.
Yep.
And you can build a piece of it when you need that for the piece of it. They've never done this before. Absolutely. And it's real and it's there and you can, if that gate wasn't there, you could touch it. It's just one of the coolest. But my favorite place inside of Galaxy's Edge is. I have 3 of them. I have that, I call it the cinematic reveal of the Falcon when you walk through like the First Order area and the Blue Milk Sand's on your left and Ogus is on your right and you're walking towards the Falcon. And then right when you turn that corner, you can actually see the whole thing is just insane. And
I've
then
stood there plenty of times. And
just
it's-
I know
watching
Evan.
people's reactions is amazing.
Evan will literally sit there for hours and
Yes.
just look, and I truly mean that. Like, I'm not talking hyperbole. Like
Evan.
20 minutes, he will sit there for hours.
Yeah.
And just look at the Falcon. And
Would he ever
I don't
work
have
there?
that kind of time, but he does when he goes. And he like, because I like to do things. I don't like to just sit, but like he'll seriously just sit there and look at it. And I just love it. My other favorite is being on the transport shuttle, look in the back.
Yes.
Watching
that's where I go
watching the back window.
all the time.
That is just so cool. And the last few times I've gone, they were stalling, so I was able to see like all the stall animations and stuff that they have for that, which is really, really cool. Like, you know, when a transport ship's taking longer to unload in front of you. But my absolute favorite part, and I realized this the last 2 times I rode it, was when Rise of the Resistance, the last room right before you go into the escape pods. Something about that hallway, once that thing, spoilers for Rise, once they shoot out the thing and Kylo Ren goes, you know, presumably flying out of the Star Destroyer, and then you go into the next room, there's that moment where that music starts to swell.
Yep.
And it's like a dangerous kind of swell version to it, and it's I last time I rode it, I looked over at Holly and I was like, I fucking love this ride. And I was just like, I was
It's
amped like I'd never ridden it before.
It's a different experience every time that you ride
It's so good. You always see something new. It's
Yeah.
the greatest theme
I
park.
truly felt like I was part of a battle
Yeah, 100%.
for my life when spoilers again, obviously, when I was going through the guns.
Oh, I know.
Like, I was like, oh my God, we're going to get hit. So, yeah, it's an amazing ride. I want to ride it again.
It's an amazing ride, man. I
have no luck getting boarding groups.
You don't?
No.
Really?
No.
Why?
Because I work.
Oh.
Yeah.
You gotta figure that out. You gotta get you an AP. So you
When
can
are
go
they
more
selling
often.
annual passes?
That's a good point.
I tried to.
Good
They
point.
opened it for one day, and I got off work, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go right over to Animal Kingdom. And then they announced, we're not selling them anymore. And I know people that got them. So, frustrating, but...
Oh, it's annoying.
All right, what's next?
I don't know. Anything else you want to... Any Black Spire secrets you can share with the class?
I don't know, because, like, I could give you all the secrets, but I don't know if they would be secrets anymore once I tell.
Ooh.
Like, do you know all the backstory? Or the whole
Here's the thing.
backstory?
I think I do. I bought that Traveler's Guide to Batuu,
Okay.
and I've read most of it. Like, I haven't read
So
it.
do you know about the cities?
Yeah, Galma,
Surabat
Surabat,
and Pika.
Pika. I always
Yeah.
want to say Pico because it's like salsa. Galma's the one that does the illegal pod racing, right?
Yes, it does
Okay.
illegal pod racings where like sabacc games are done. You know,
It's the Vegas of Batuu.
it's kind of that place where people go to disappear. And Black Spire Outpost is already that place you want to go to if you want to disappear. Think like Route 66, it's like a travel through town. You like whatever. It's like off the map, but it's still on the map, but like off the map. You know.
Yeah.
So,
I love that they went with the new planet. I think it was such a brave move. It's one of the rare things that Disney's done where I
Yes.
go, you took a risk.
yes.
Like,
Okay.
that's such a risk.
Speaking of risks and stuff like that, and there's people that hate Black Spire Outpost and Batuu and everything, but I got in an argument with somebody on the blog page.
Oh, which one? Tell me. Say it.
The
Don't be a coward.
Disney Parks blog. That one, like in the
The
comments,
Disney
they were,
one?
yeah, on
Oh,
Instagram.
Jesus.
And this guy was like, "It's absolute trash. I don't know why they wouldn't do it."
Oh, that guy
And-
can't afford to go. That's why he's angry.
No. He was like, "I don't know why they just didn't make a life-size Tatooine." And I was like,
That doesn't make sense. Think of what you're saying.
so I told him to go to Tatooine Traders, and he was like, "But I can't build a lightsaber. The Jedi don't build lightsabers there with you." And I was like, "For many reasons, they don't build lightsabers with you there."
Gone? There's no Jedi left.
Yeah. So
like the fact that people wanted just an like. See, that's why I think the Harry Potter stuff is kind of lackluster for me. Is like you're just recreating a movie set. That's while that's hard to do and make it interesting in a theme park environment, it's not creative. The idea of creating a new planet is what's creative. Like that part is interesting.
Yep.
And it's not just a planet that you just pretend don't exist. I mean, it pops up in the Solo movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right? They reference Black Spire Outpost and Doc Ondar. You know that, right? In Solo.
Yes.
And the funny thing about that was I remember seeing Solo that weekend. I had it for 2 nights. We saw Solo the opening night. We went to we saw the night before, I think. Maybe the official opening we saw the night before. Then we went to Galactic Nights that night where they had that long panel about Doc on, like they kind of spilled the beans on everything pretty much that night at
what's happening.
the Indiana Jones stuff at the stunts show, that thing. They did the panel there. Then we went back the next night and saw it again, and that was when they announced that it was called Black Spire Outpost, and they reference it in that movie before it came out. And I remember rewatching Solo and being like, they just started West End, Doc on our way, Black Spire Outpost, and just freaking out like it was the coolest thing ever. And they took they very easily could have made Coruscant, or they could have done Tatooine, or they could have done Naboo. You know, that would have been the most easy one to do.
Like basic, yeah.
It would have been easy. But the fact that they took all these and they made it feel Star Warsy. Like that's what I think is just so impressive. Is that they were able to take something
makes you
brand
feel like
new.
You're on a different planet.
It does. And I remember saying to Holly, I was like, all right, I'll call you when I get back to Disneyland.
And you never did.
I was in Disneyland. I was in it. And that weekend I was like, wait, I'm in Disneyland. Like that's how immersive it is. And it's just so insane. So
I'm trying to find my notes because I have another secret. Speaking of Doc Ondar.
Ooh, what you got?
Okay, so
what secrets does Doc Ondar hide?
So Doc Ondar, let's see, he is dating someone within the land, and I can't remember her name. So I'm trying to find.
Is it Oga Gara?
No, Oga. No.
Likes Wookiees.
Oga don't date anybody.
Oga learned her lesson.
Oh gosh, where is she?
Did you love the Black Spire book where they were talking about that and you're like, oh, that's what that crack in the sidewalk is?
Okay, so where is she? Goodness gracious.
Or the bridge, not the sidewalk.
Do you like Doc Ondar's? Like,
it's my favorite. It's my other favorite place inside
there's
of
so
Galaxy's
many hidden
Edge.
things in there.
I know. I don't even think I've seen all of them. Like, I go in there every time I go to Galaxy's Edge.
Goodness gracious, where is this chick's name?
I have a black kyber crystal. Humble brag.
How did you get a black one?
I had 2 at one point.
Oh my goodness.
Well, here's a secret. You can totally tell when they put a black one out.
I do not know.
You can when they're on the shelf. I saw one the other day and I almost grabbed it, but I was like, eh. Like you can tell, like when they're sitting there, like with the ones by the registers.
Okay.
When there's a black one there, you can tell.
Are you gonna spill? Or are you like, nah, we're gonna leave it up to?
No, you can just tell. Like when they're all sitting there, you can see through.
Oh, you can.
You can totally tell. And then
All right.
there's just like there was one just saying I was like, and me and Holly told her that was a black kyber crystal, 100%. And it used to be even worse because they were bottom lit, and in the old way that they used to have them, like where they had the holocrons now, they had the kyber crystals there and they were bottom lit. So you could totally tell which one was the black kyber crystal.
Okay. I found my notes. I had to go way back.
It's okay.
So, I hope I'm right on this. I haven't read
I'm gonna
up
take
on
it as fact unless I know you're wrong, and then I'm gonna mock you for it.
Okay, so Doc Ondar, I'm pretty sure I'm like 80%. Like,
That's not very high. That's a C.
Okay, no,
That's a C where I come from.
80% was like a B.
80% in my school was a C. 85 was a B.
Old man.
84? 84 was a B. 84 to 92.
I'll send you this picture, and you can check my facts, okay?
Okay.
So, the creature skull,
Uh-huh.
there's somebody who owns it. Her name is Bina.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Doc Ondar is dating Bina.
No.
Yes.
Is this a recent thing?
Oh, no, it's been known. If you
Okay.
ask any of the people that work in the marketplace, they have the backstory.
I did not
And
know
you
this.
can just, everybody has a backstory if you are willing to ask. And that's what sucks about COVID. You can't interact with any of the guests. Or anything,
Here's you want to hear a hot take?
What?
You know I'm a big Star Wars fan, obviously.
Yeah.
I wish there was a code word you could say to these cast members where you could talk to them like an adult for a second.
Oh no,
I hate it.
No. They know. They know when to like drop the theming, and they can talk to you.
I tried it the other day with somebody because I had an issue with my lightsaber and I had to take it back. And
it's not working.
How many times a day do you hear that? I was talking to them and I was like, this is like the coolest place ever. And she's like, yeah, it's really cool. And I was like, are you a big Star Wars fan? And she's like,
what is Star Wars?
We don't really have those holo scans here. And I was like, all right, like I'm by myself. I get it. I'm dressed up. I get it.
So my favorite thing.
But there should be like a phrase I can say like, I could be like cheese stick. And that's the key word that breaks the theming.
There's no
I
words
like,
that I know of, but I do like messing with the cast members or the citizen, because we don't know what Star Wars is. We don't even know, like, what's happening.
But like,
so like, my favorite thing is, I'll walk up to a cast member and they'll be like, "Oh, what is this on your shirt?" And you have to sit there and explain to them what Star Wars is. To somebody who's never seen Star Wars.
But knows the people.
Yes.
Like it'd be like if we went to like back in time and some random person was like, "Who's that on your shirt?" And it's George Washington. They're like, "There's movies about him in our galaxy." He's just like a guy to us.
But they're truly.
I love the theming, but I also want to be like,
to it.
"Hey, let's for sure talk like adults for a second."
Yes.
Because I'm 31, and I want to talk to you about Star Wars.
Yes.
What are these holo scans you speak of? Like, you sound corny. Like,
yes,
you sound corny. Like,
the merchandise people would take it very, very
around
serious.
my kids, fine.
Yeah.
By myself, fixing a problem with a toy lightsaber that I spent too much money on. Can we please just talk like adults for a second?
So, you know that the restrooms are called
refreshers.
Refreshers.
So stupid. I hate it so much.
They were like, you would ask restroom. Where's the restroom? The cast members would have to say, "Oh, you mean the refreshers?"
Yo.
And they would be like, "What?"
For sure, don't say that word around me again.
Yeah.
I hate it. It's so dumb.
Yeah. I have a friend that has like the original like theming book, like all of the words that we were supposed to, know and all that, and then
It's not practical. Like, you are in a theme park. Like, where's Toy Story Land? What is Toy Story Land? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's the stuff I can't stand.
My friend called it the Planet of Toys.
The Planet of Toys?
Yes.
That's fine, but that makes no sense in Star Wars, so why would you say that?
You know what?
So why don't you just go, hey, Toy Story Land, take a right.
Yeah.
Right up there.
Yeah. It is exhausting, though. I imagine it is very exhausting.
I couldn't do it because I would just be like, they'd be like, do you like Star Wars? I'm like, dude, you have no idea. I have a Star Wars podcast. Like, I would just talk about it all the time. Like, I'd be so happy.
Yeah. My friend
When I worked for Disney, I didn't apply because I liked Star Wars so much. I didn't want it to be a job.
Yes.
I wanted this one place that was, I could have easily crushed that interview and like gotten a job.
Yes.
Doing
Absolutely.
something about I'm sure of it. Yeah. But I just was like, I don't want to.
Sanitation.
Is that what they call it? Sanitation. That's so good.
Yeah.
I could have done it easily just with my enthusiasm for Star Wars, but I just wanted something sacred. Like I wanted to, like even to this day, even though I'm not with the company anymore. When I walk into Magic Kingdom, it's still like I know backstage, I know the tunnels, I know where I am. Like there's just subliminal things you think about that you can't unthink about. And I was like, I don't want to know what backstage of Rise of the Resistance looks like. I don't want to be sitting on the ride and be like, oh, there's a break room right here. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't want that for me with Star Wars. So that's why I never did it.
Trying to think. Do you know about DJ Rex and his crash site?
Yes, that's not at Disneyland. Did you know that?
No.
The crash site is not at Disneyland.
I haven't been to Disneyland.
It's
okay,
not at
I
Disneyland.
have, but not Galaxy's Edge.
The crash site is not at Disneyland.
Wow.
Do you watch any Disney YouTube stuff?
Barely.
Do you know who Defunct Land is?
No.
Okay.
So I guess no, I don't watch anything.
You should. He's awesome.
Okay.
He's a buddy of mine, and we were there opening week of Galaxy's Edge, or maybe opening day, I don't remember. And that was his favorite. He's a young dude, but he's more cynical than he should be.
Okay.
But I appreciate his cynicism because it comes from a place of trying to make things better and not shitting on them. But that was his favorite detail in Galaxy's Edge because he was like trying, like his thing was he wanted to test the theming.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's just see how far they're willing to go. And he said his favorite thing about the theming was the fact that when he asked someone what that crash site was, that they're like, I have no idea. We don't know what happened. It's just some random crash site. Like they need to come get there.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's exactly what you should say.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like giddy about that for weeks. He trashed Galaxy's Edge for a long time.
Yeah.
And I love Kevin, but he is wrong on that one.
Is he young?
He's younger. I don't want to blow him up too much because he doesn't talk about his age or his face. He doesn't talk about his appearance. So I'm not going to blow him up on this.
Okay.
He's been on the show before, but I'm not
Okay.
gonna blow him up.
All right.
That was his takeaway from Galaxy's Edge was that they didn't know. He's like, that's so cool. Like they just like
Yeah.
you wouldn't know what a car like if a car crash happened near you wouldn't know who it was. And I'm like, makes sense.
Yeah.
But he's a good dude. All right. Anything else? We did 2 hours. Doesn't feel like it, does it?
You have any more questions?
No.
What's your least favorite part? Galaxy's Edge.
The X-wing, Poe's X-wing. It drives me nuts.
How?
Like it's hard to look at. It bothers me that bad because it's such a small detail that they could have fixed, and it's not like it's not a big deal, but it's definitely annoying. Like as a canon person, like just fix it.
Okay, so what was your most what was the most surprising thing? That you're like, oh crap, that's there, or like, oh, that's what that was. Like,
I'll tell you one thing I was disappointed in was the size of the pod racing engine at Ronto Roasters.
are you kidding me?
Yeah, have you seen the concept art for it? What it was supposed to look like?
Yes, but also it's massive.
It is, but like, I don't know. It might be because it's forced. It might be forced perspective. I can't
Okay.
tell. But like I wanted a different looking engine. It's hard to explain.
Respect.
But I was just thinking more of something that looked like Anakin's engine.
Okay.
Um,
I don't know why they would have Anakin's engine.
not
there,
specifically, but like, have you ever seen the concept art for it? Like, have you seen it recently?
the Ronto one or
Yeah, the Ronto
Anakin
Roasters.
like-
The Ronto Roasters.
Yes.
Ronto
I think I have.
Roasters concept art. They're doing an Art of Galaxy's Edge book, and I cannot wait. It's both of my things that, like, look at that engine. That looks way cooler than what we got.
Oh, okay. Now I see
Yeah,
what you're saying.
like that looks way cooler than what we got.
yeah.
And that and Docking Bay 7 both were underwhelming in the sense of like Docking Bay 7 looked way cooler in concept art than
Yeah.
what we actually got. But outside of that, I mean, there's not much to not like. I wish there was a few more things you could go into. Like, I think it'd be cool to go see Oga's office. Like, maybe she's not up there.
That's the mystery about it. No one, unless you work there, no one knows what Oga looks like. They like not.
We've
even,
seen Oga.
Nobody even like.
We've seen Oga.
She's ugly, isn't she?
She's very ugly.
Yeah.
I forget her race, but she's ugly.
I think she's in the Wookiees. I do know that.
Hmm. It's in the Black Spire book.
Yes. So.
She threw her ex-Wookiee boyfriend into the bridge across from Oga's. Those apartments up there, I'd like to live in one of those.
Yeah.
Be pretty
Trying
dope.
to think. You pretty much know all the secrets that I know. Well, actually, not all of them.
I know. I want to hear more when we get off this. I almost said hang up the phone. We're not on phones.
Bye.
We end this
Click.
podcast. Click, hang up. Anything else?
No.
Let's wrap this bad boy up. Where can the good people, because you're going to get a lot of people, where can the good people find you on the internet if you want anyone to find you at all? Do you want to stay anonymous?
You can find me on Instagram.
There you go. What's your handle on Instagram?
It's very complex, so I'm not going to tell you because I did
You
not
have to
think this through.
you'll have to figure it out, people. How about that? It's a secret code to
I'm
unlock
just
and like everything.
Erica with a lot of different letters because the handle Erica was not available, so it's like 3 E's, 2 R's, 2 I's, 2 C's, and then like 4 A's and then an underscore. So I was
Even
like,
that you had to add an underscore
how do I
for.
describe that? Like Erica.
Eureka.
I'm sorry. I don't use Facebook.
Ugh. Facebook is
Twitter. We don't really talk about Twitter. It's just there for Star Wars news. But Instagram is the place to find me.
You can find me at, I forget what it is, Jedi Talk Podcast on Twitter, but please don't follow me. You can follow me on Instagram at Florida Fun Brad for pics from inside the park and stuff. I don't really use it that much, but if you want to find it there. Also, remember the mug giveaway that we're doing, we mentioned on the last podcast, Jedi Talk Podcast at gmail.com. Screenshot you doing a review of the show. We already got an entry or two, I think, for this, so there's still mugs available. Jedi Talk Podcast at gmail.com. Screenshot you doing a review on whatever platform you listen to the podcast at. Send us that, and you will get a free lightsaber color changing mug. They are pretty dope, and we'll send it out to you. Other than that, we will see you on the next show. Until then, may the Force be with you always.